Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 60. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and as always, I'm joined by Dory. How you doing on this 4th of July weekend?
Hello. I celebrated my 4th of July by playing video games and having spaghetti and doing basically nothing patriotic for various reasons. But I was out busy saving the world from international terrorism. So you can all thank me later for doing that for you, as we'll talk about today when I discuss the original Splinter Cell trilogy, 1, 2, and 3, Chaos Theory, of course. We're also going to talk about the Bandai Namco Showcase, and then our big discussion for today is the Xbox news, the layoffs. We're going to talk about it. There's just so much to talk about. That's going to be our big subject for the day. It's really fucked up, and we'll talk about it, and it really sucks. And I'm really upset about it and mad about it and have a lot of feelings about it. But we'll get to that later. We'll start with the happier things first.
All right, so let's start with our spotlight of the week, which is this Splinter Cell. Is it a trilogy?
I mean, I'm calling it a trilogy, but I mean, it's obviously a couple other games came out after that. But this is like the original trilogy where, they had a pretty steady formula and they just kept improving it little by little over each game. Whereas the next two games, Conviction and Double Agent, I want to say, made the formula quite a bit different, a little more open world-ish or open zone-ish. Either way, this is the classic trilogy, the one where the levels are pretty linear, and you're shooting out the lights and you're going through vents, stuff like that.
All right, start with the first game.
So I'll start with the first game. So I don't have any nostalgia for Splinter Cell, which I think actually helps me a little bit be a little more objective about it. I didn't grow up playing them. I'm not much of a stealth gamer. I have a mixed track record when it comes to enjoying stealth as a genre, but I would say overall the series is great and has aged very well. The first game, I mean, in an affectionate, positive way, it's ridiculous. Like, the lighting engine is amazing. Given the time that they are working in, which is early 2000s, it's just absolutely ridiculous they were able to pull this off and have this kind of lighting engine. I'm not probably going to say too many controversial things here, but this will probably be one of my least controversial things I say about Splinter Cell, which is that the lighting engine throughout the three games I'll discuss is just incredibly impressive, even now, just to see how reactive everything is to lights and shadows. But it feels like absolute magic for the time. I'm pretty sure Ubisoft had to create an entire lighting engine for Splinter Cell just to make it work. It's just such a cool idea and such a cool core concept. I do have some problems with the original, though, for as good as that is. I will say a lot of the writing and the VA, this is, early 2000s, so people weren't putting a lot of time and effort necessarily into VO. Obviously, Michael Ironside as Sam Fisher is a joy, and he's great in all three games. And his handler, whose name is escaping me right now, is also great in the first and third game. They changed him up in the second for some reason. But yeah, the writing's pretty forgettable. It's just a plot where you have to stop a war from happening, and it's cool. There's a through line throughout all three games where Sam is questioning his mission, questioning the orders, getting challenged by other people, but it doesn't culminate in anything. I don't know if Double Agent does something with that through line or it just gets dropped. I have no idea, because I really just wanted to play the stealth games. But yeah, this was the subtitle for Splinter Cell was Stealth Action Redefined or something like that. And yeah, would definitely say they did that. The core gameplay is just so satisfying. Shooting out lights, turning off switches, hiding behind people, using the walls. I mean, this was really good stuff. Especially for its time, just incredibly impressive gameplay that I enjoyed. It's tense, but it's fun. The best part of this game is the autosave feature. You feel like you can mess up and not be punished super harsh. It reminds me of playing Hitman. Honestly, I think Hitman is the closest thing we have to Splinter Cell at this point. Which, if you think about it, I mean, they're not that far off. Sam is basically killing people most of the time. His character often wants to kill people, right? Ironside often remarks about how he wants to kill people. So, it helps that most of the people he's killing are objectively pretty bad people. But, sometimes they make interesting points about American imperialism, but, I won't get too political. Either way, it's the biggest problem with all three of these games is the ports. These are all PC ports, and Ubisoft does not give a shit about the series. I know they came out with a remastered, but that was on PS3, and as everybody knows, PS3 is infamously hard to its games are infamously hard to play. This is, you can find emulators online. Not that, of course, I would encourage that. But Ubisoft basically has abandoned these games. The PC ports are doable on modern consoles, but you need to find some mods and fixes online to get the resolution. That's the biggest issue, is that the game will keep minimizing itself and resizing itself because it doesn't know what to do for modern consoles. So again, Ubisoft completely dropped the ball. I know, surprise, surprise. Doesn't give a shit about Splinter Cell, pretty obviously. You can even look at the reviews for some of the later games. I can't remember if it's Conviction or Double Agent, but it's got like mixed or negative reviews because the PC port is so bad. So yeah, they don't care. They only care about Assassin's Creed, really. Let's be real. Maybe like one or two other franchises like Far Cry. Anyway, this was a great game. Not an amazing game, but a great game. And if I, as a person who is pretty mixed on stealth, thought this was a great game, anyone who's a fan of the genre has to play this. I had a lot of fun with it. I want to say, too, the skyboxes, if you're not familiar with skyboxes, it's basically just the sky in a video game, actually look really stunning. There's a couple of levels where it genuinely looks good. Like, I took some screenshots and I don't know, just the lighting engine that they use is fucking wizardry. It's really impressive. So yeah, especially the level on the pipe station, or it's not a pipe station, it's like an oil rig out on the ocean, and you can see like the sun coming down over the ocean, and it's just really pretty, really dazzling, especially for 2002. This game holds up very well. It's going for that realistic feel, but because the engine is so good about lighting and shadows, it holds up better than you think it would. Anyway, that's enough about Splinter Cell 1. It does have a good ending with his daughter, who is never mentioned again. And but it's a funny scene that I appreciated. So I'll talk about Splinter Cell 2 Pandora tomorrow. Now, the most interesting thing about this game is that it wasn't developed internally by the same studio. It was given to another studio. But unless you knew that, you wouldn't really be able to tell. They pretty much copy-pasted from the first game and then did some very minor improvements. They do take some steps forward, but every step forward they take is about a half step back. Easy for me to say. There is slightly better movement. The first game had janky controls in some areas, especially with the platforming and moving around ledges and stuff, which, I mean, it's 2002. I'll give it a pass. It was their first game, whatever. The second one has better movement, but the level design's a little more cumbersome. The areas are slightly bigger, and it just gets confusing to know which way you're going to go. This becomes an even bigger issue in Chaos Theory. But Ironside returns. He's great. Ironside returns. He's great, but his handler has a different VA for some reason. I don't know why they did this, and he's fine, but it's not the same guy. I think it's the Allstate guy, if I'm going to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure it's the Allstate guy. But anyway, this is one of my biggest problems with the game, which sounds like a nitpick, but it gets really annoying. So in the first game, how it works is, you have an assignment, you have a mission, you have a level. And what will happen is you can get caught 3 times, and once you do, the mission is over. And sometimes you can kill, and sometimes you can't, and that mixes up the gameplay, right? because sometimes you have to be non-lethal and sometimes you can't. All Sam's weapons are silenced as well, which doesn't really do as much as you would think, because sometimes from down the hall, someone will be like, what was that? And I'll be like, dude, how did you fucking hear me with I know silencers don't actually silence guns, by the way. I know they just lessen their noise, so it's kind of a misnomer. But anyway, it can be kind of annoying because the AI is pretty smart in these games. They have to be, though, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be challenging. But either way, the alarm system improvement here is that you can get caught. I think you can get caught multiple times, and the guards will actually change based on the alarm. So the first alarm they'll put on body armor, second alarm they'll put on a helmet, and then third alarm, I think you're done, right? But the alarms can actually descend. So eventually, if you stay ghost for long enough, kind of like Metal Gear Solid, right? If you stay ghost for long enough, eventually it'll go back to normal. Now, this sounds like a great idea in theory, except every time it happens, somebody has to fucking say something about it. And if you're not good at stealth games like me, you're constantly hearing the bad guys go, okay, situation's normal. And then one of your handlers says, oh, it seems like the situation's back to normal. And I'm like, am I 5 years old? Do I need to have this explained to me twice every single time? It got really grating, and it was my biggest problem with this game. Is like every now and then I'd be like, does this game think I'm 5 years old? Like, why do I need to have my hand held like this? But it was a different studio, and they were trying other things, which I appreciate. And it was a better alarm system. It was just very annoying. And I think they could have just had a visual tell instead of an audio tell, and this would have been great. And I honestly think this would have been a better game than the first game. But as it is, there's too many pros and cons. I would say this is just about as good as the first game, maybe a little better. Also, it's pretty funny that sometimes there are voiceover issues. Like, you'll hear a character speak in one voice, and then when they have like a canned response, like they're responding to what something Sam does, like shoot out a light or close the door, which is cool that they noticed that, by the way. Someone will go in a completely different voice, like, what was that? And when their normal voice will be like, oh my god, I really love being a bad guy, you know? And their voice will be completely different. It's very weird. Last thing I'll say about Pandora Tomorrow, lackluster ending. I am very glad that they didn't make me take in the video game, the bomb and put it in the airport. But it was just kind of like Sam just figured it out and just happened to be right. And then that was it. It was over. So it's kind of a weird flat ending that didn't help things. But yeah, that's Pandora Tomorrow. And then arguably the best one, Chaos Theory, right? Everybody remembers this one. This was the one that everyone loves. I think it is the best one, but it's not the best one by I don't know, it's the way some people think about it, talk about it. You'd think it was like a 5-star classic. I think it's a really great game, but it's got a lot of issues. The level design was really frustrating. I would constantly find myself getting turned around. Now, I don't have a good sense of direction, and it did take me a while to figure out that there was a map, because there's no tutorial in this game. The tutorial is totally optional, which I appreciate, but I was overconfident. I was like, well, I've already played the first 2 games. I don't need a tutorial. In fact, I was wrong, narrator voice. And I should have actually played the tutorials because I had forgotten a couple buttons. They had remapped a few things, forgot some strategies, yada, yada. So eventually I looked up the tutorials, which are just videos. I like it's optional, but I feel like definitely if you have played all of the games in a row, you might feel a little overconfident like I did. One thing I didn't like about Chaos Theory was the level design. It was frustrating at times. I would take shortcuts or double back and realize I was, just going to a shortcut. It got kind of confusing, especially because the game loves to play with shadows. And so sometimes you have night vision on, sometimes you have it off, and sometimes I would just get confused. Now, notoriously, I have a bad sense of direction and bad sense of spatiality. So it's possible it's just a me thing, but it felt like they made the levels bigger because they had a lot of side objectives. For some reason, Ubisoft thought a great idea to get more value out of the Splinter Cell franchise was to do side objectives. And to be honest, they feel like complete fluff. They seem unnecessary. The couple of times I actually did them, I got bespoke dialogue that was basically nothing. The only thing they really do is increase your score. But to be honest, I thought the score mechanic seemed weird and out of place too. Like, I don't want to be scored on my mission success. I'm not interested. I'm just here to protect the United States. You know, I don't care if I get a 0% or whatever. As long as World War III doesn't happen, I think I'm winning. So it just felt like a weird decision by creative. Regardless, the VO or VA is all back to normal. So of course Ironside's there as always, but his handler is back to normal as well. The gameplay is arguably at its best. You can cut fabric, you can hang from roofs and ceilings and stuff. You can, you know, you've got like a knife that you have on you at all times that you can just cut people. You can knock people out lethally and non-lethally. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do in contextual environments that feels very good, looks very good. It's just great. The core gameplay is incredibly fun. And the plot, where, like I mentioned before, you have to prevent World War III, was great. Probably the best. It was very straightforward, and it had a character that you've met in the last 2 games. So you actually felt shock horror, slightly invested in the plot. And so, yeah, it was good. I think it is the best Splinter Cell game, but I don't think it's like a masterpiece. I think there's problems here and there. The game just hasn't aged well in some ways. I think Ubisoft was on the cusp of making this an open world game, but just didn't commit to it in time. Or, you know, this was just a precursor for them committing to it. Regardless, it did make for some frustrating level design. I did have to look up some YouTube videos every now and then. That all aside, you know, again, had some issues with the resolution and had to install some mods, but this was the least cumbersome one. Had to kind of alt-tab every now and then and reset the resolution so that night vision would work, because sometimes when you did night vision, it'd just be a big white blast of light at you. So you'd have to reset the program to get it to work. So again, Ubisoft doesn't care about Splinter Cell, or at least not enough to actually support these ports. Overall, the series holds up amazingly well, especially given its age. I mean, Splinter Cell, even the newest one, from 2008, is almost 20 years old now, and it's in really great shape. I think that all of these games look great. I don't really think Splinter Cell needs a remake. I think it'd be great if it did, for video game preservation and for the sake of like having better ports. So I'm not against it. But I would rather just a sequel that goes back to the roots, kind of like they did with Assassin's Creed, not Shadows. Wasn't Origins. What was the one that they did recently that was like a 20-hour game? I can't remember. Mirage? Mirage. Anyway, so I would like them to do something like that. No open world, just linear levels, maybe some secrets here and there, some cool little side objectives that actually feel meaningful, but no open world, at least in my opinion. People have been wanting Splinter Cell, a remake or a sequel, for years now. They have been clamoring for it, complaining about how Sam has been wasted as a character and the franchise is wasted as an IP. And I've always been of the opinion, like, okay, like, sure, I get it. It's a beloved series. But, like, now I'm that Danny DeVito meme where he's like, oh my God, I get it. Because these are all really great games. And the fact that Ubisoft has done jack shit with it for about, like, over 10 years, I think now, besides maybe like a mobile game and I think a VR game that got canceled, is ridiculous. That's Konami levels of wasting your IP. I know Sam's an old guy, even in these games. I think he's in his upper 40s or early 50s. I mean, he remembers the Reagan administration. So he's a pretty old guy, even in the mid 2000s. But you can always do an origin story. You could always do a prequel. You could always do one after Chaos Theory, where he's looking towards retirement, and replace him with somebody else, like they're doing in Ninja Gaiden and like they did in Devil May Cry. So I thought this was a really great series. I had a lot of fun. I'm not even like a stealth veteran, and I enjoyed it. So I think anybody who enjoys stealth, you probably have already played these games, but if you haven't, now's a great time. Maybe look up some emulators or other places to find it. But if you really want to play it on Steam, you can. Just make sure you're looking up DG Voodoo Fix, as well as some other mods and stuff for resolutions. That's going to be your biggest issue. But yeah, great games. I understand the hype now. I get why people love these games. So very fun trip down other people's memory lane, but not mine. So yeah, that's it for Splinter Cell, unless you have anything you want to add.
No, moving on to Bandai Namco Showcase that we got. It was like an hour-long showcase. And and they showed us several games. Most of them being games we already know, starting with My Hero Academia All's Justice. Now we figure there's gonna be a new My Hero Academia game. The show is wrapping up. The manga already ended, and this game is focused on the Final War arc, and it's a 3v3 arena fighter, and it has a cinematic story mode as you would expect, and it has a large roster of characters from the show. Did this appeal to you at all?
It looked cool. I think it was the only new game they showed, question mark, and it looked pretty interesting. I like the 3v3 kind of, spin on it. But I mean, I have a hard time looking at this being, thinking anything other than I've already seen this before from other games many, many times. I will say the animation looks good, and, focusing on a specific arc makes it a lot more doable because you don't have to make as much content. The thing that interested me the most about this game, I probably won't buy it, but the thing that interested me the most is that they're doing their own ending. They are working closely with the original, manga team, but they're making up their own finish to the series, I guess, or maybe they're doing that in collaboration with it. It was kind of unclear, but I think they're making their own ending, which is controversial, seems to me. But either way, it's pretty cool. No, they're working alongside the anime team, not the manga team. That's right. That makes more sense because the manga ended a long time ago. But either way, it looked cool. But I mean, I've seen this kind of game millions of times by now, so didn't move me much, but it was cool.
Yeah, the ending of the manga was controversial. People had very mixed opinions about it. We'll see when the anime finishes how people feel. All right, moving on to Code Vein 2. Now, we got to see that at Summer Game Fest, and it was definitely a surprise when they showed it. They basically what they showed was more of the same. I didn't see anything out of anything that was brand new per se.
No. I think they just elaborated on what they've already shown and just kind of explained more.
They showed more enemy characters, I think, and a couple more characters. But other than that, it was mostly just like a reminder that it's coming out. I played the first game. It's a solid Souls game. It's among the easier ones. It's like medium, I guess. It's not on the harder side. It's not Lies of P, but it's definitely a Souls game, and so it's not a walk in the park either. But they said this is a sequel, and there's time travel mechanics in this one, and it says it expands on its emotional storyline, and it's going to expand on its combat as well. So I see that in the combat. The combat looks better, but like I said, they didn't show a lot. It's not like day one game for me, but it's something I'll keep my eye on. Any interest?
No, not really. I do think it looks very impressive, though. I think the aesthetic looks really interesting and cool. I'm obsessed with this character that has like a fucking candle inside of their head. I know we saw it before, but it just looks really fucking cool. That's just such an awesome aesthetic idea. I feel like that's like a Nomura idea. I even thought the guy who was presenting it looked a little like Nomura. A bit older and with a similar hairdo.
Yeah.
But regardless, it looks cool, but it's not really for me. Side note, I want to shout out the one of the hosts who just had a ton of energy. I don't remember his name, but he was along Sydney. He was just great. He was a joy to watch. He had like energy and enthusiasm for every showing. He was like one of the best. I know this is like faint praise, but he was like one of the best parts of the show. Anyway, shout out to that guy.
Yeah, his name was Connor.
Connor, thank you. I was looking for it, but could not find it for the life of me.
But they didn't show his last.
Shout out to Connor.
They didn't show his last name though. That was interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Connor last name.
The next game they showed was Patapon 1 and 2 Replay, which is a PlayStation franchise. Of course, we knew this was coming out already, and they didn't say anything new about it. But if you didn't know what it is, it's a action adventure game where players use the rhythm of 4 mystical drums to command cute and mysterious eyeball-like creatures known as Patapons. As the player, you are the god of the Patapons, and you lead them on a grand adventure to Earth End. This is considered a classic PlayStation series that they've given the IP to a different developer focus on, and same thing with Hot Shot Golf as well. Everybody's golf. Dory, any interest in Patapon?
No, I never played these games as a kid. Rhythm games generally do nothing for me unless they're called Guitar Hero or Rock Band, and that's about it. There's some exceptions, but generally.
Yeah, I played the first game on the PSP back in like the late 2000s, but that's about it. My only history with it. All right, the next one was Tawa and the Guardians of the Sacred. This is a roguelite with colorful visuals. It features magical guardians and fast-paced combat. And the big emphasis in the showcase was on exploration and replayable dungeons. Anything about this stand out to you, Dory?
Not really. Another one that kind of ended flat, but yeah, I mean, looked neat. Let's see, which one was this? The Toa one?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look for it. I'm using timestamps, but they're completely off from everybody. Oh, this was the one with the fish guy.
Yeah. I like the art
yeah,
style.
I like the anim. This was another case of like when they show an animation for something, I'm like, can I just get that? Can I just get that anime instead of getting whatever this video game is? Yeah, it didn't do much for me. Roguelite stuff is something I'm pretty mixed on. And yeah.
It's roguelite. It reminds me of that Ninja Turtles roguelite game. It's the same exact gameplay and the same exact camera angle. The visuals.
I didn't like the voice acting either.
Yeah.
It sounded like they would repeat a lot of voice lines. Like even in that one trailer, I felt like I heard the same line twice. So I can't even imagine playing the game.
Yeah. I think the visuals look nice. It looks very colorful and looks clean. I like the character designs. Combat looks pretty fun. I'm just not a big fan of roguelites. Like if it was just a standard like action platformer or something, or dungeon crawler or something, I'd be more into it. But roguelite, I'm just kind of sick of roguelites. But I know that's the style.
Yeah, such was the style at the time, to quote Grandpa Simpson.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's something like mobile addy about this. Do you agree with that? Like it just, I don't know. There's something about the aesthetic that I feel like feels like a mobile game. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but like when I'm looking at the sprites and some of the action and stuff, it just kind of looks kind of cheap. But I mean, I agree with you. It's very colorful and it has a nice aesthetic, but I don't know.
I mean, Hades does the same thing with the dialogue boxes and the characters on the sides, but I get
no, it does, but I feel like their sprite work is a lot better.
It
just feels kind of cheap.
Yeah, this one it definitely feels more indie, even though it's a big publisher. But yeah, it doesn't look amazing. Maybe I'll try it out if it was on like a Steam sale for like $5 or something. But yeah, I'm not really into it. I forgot to write down the Death Note game, I guess, Killer Within, but I don't think either of us have anything to say about that. I don't see that.
I immediately skip by it. Immediately.
Yeah. Okay. Now the Shadow Labyrinth one definitely drew my attention just because it's like Metroidvania with Pac-Man. Like it's a cool concept, and the visuals look really cool. So it says it's a 2D action platformer, and it's a genre-twisting alternate take on the iconic Pac-Man. As the swordsman, you wake on a mysterious planet amidst relics of wars past. To survive, you will discover secrets, consume your enemies, and grow from prey to apex predator. This is from Steam. So it's a stylish 2D platformer. It's going to feature retro-styled bosses. They're like tributes to like retro games, and they have puzzle mechanics. And it's designed as a tribute to classic arcade games, including Pac-Man. Of course, it was like a Pac-Man level that looked really cool. Did this stand out to you at all, or any interest?
Like the aesthetic, I love how wacky the idea is, but I've never liked Pac-Man, and I don't generally like Metroidvanias. But I was impressed with how much gameplay they showed.
Yeah,
it looks really cool, and the boss fight looks fun.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it's just not the right genre for me in terms of like, just being interested. But I liked what I saw, and maybe if it got good reviews and if it's not too confusing, maybe I'd check it out. I do think it's funny that they call them the G hosts or G hosts instead of ghosts. And then like they have crazy names like Red Bragza Terrius Gilba. Just incredible shit. And then the developer just like completely plainly, without any emotions at all, just explained very calmly why it's like that. I was like, wow, dude, all right. It's cool. I mean, there's a lot going on. They kind of explain what's going on the screen to Sydney, and I mean, it looks great. But it's just not my genre, and I
Yeah.
don't really care about Pac-Man. So them messing around with Pac-Man doesn't do anything for me either. But I think it's neat.
Yeah, it looks like a good Steam Deck game for me.
Yeah,
And it's the 45th anniversary of Pac-Man, so that was
that's
cool.
right.
All right, so definitely a game I'm not getting day one, but I have my eye on it, and it looks like a fun PC handheld game. All right, moving on to Little Nightmares 3. We talked about this game extensively last week, and I'm already hyped for it. It was our thumbnail last week, so obviously I'm excited for it, and there's nothing else to say. I think we already talked about it enough. We went in detail about it last time. They showed a little more, but that was about it. They showed like an enemy character at the end, but it was again big focus on the deluxe edition, the pre-orders, all that stuff, the stuff you get with it. They did that again. All right, I already pre-ordered it. All right, everybody's golf hot shots. I think we can just fast forward through this one too, because neither of us are gonna get it. I might have fun with this game on a sale, because I have played these games before. It's a PlayStation franchise, but nothing I'm interested day one, and I would not spend more than $20 on this personally. But I know they are accessible in the sense that like they're arcadey golf games. They're not like PGA Tour or something. So like they're meant to just have fun with it. So it's not overly complicated, I think. All right, moving on was Super Robot Wars Y. This is kind of like a Gundam game.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Avengers style Gundam game. Like everybody's here.
Yeah, so the animation was cool, and the RPG elements, and the gameplay wasn't really for me though personally, and I wasn't really into anything I was seeing. The designs were cooler than anything else. Does this interest you at all?
Yeah, I just thought it was fucking bonkers. They were bringing all these random series together. Well, not random series, but all these mecha series together. I thought that was pretty cool. But other than that, I didn't care.
Yeah. All right, we can.
They had
Go ahead.
they had Mobile Fighter G Gundam. Let's see. They had Seed, The Witch from Mercury Season 1. Let's see, Mobile Suit Z. I think they had Wing as well. I'm not seeing Wing, but I could have sworn they had one of the guys from Wing. Gundam Wing, I should say. In it as well. What was his name? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Well, whatever. Oh, and also, I guess you fight Godzilla at the end.
Yeah.
Godzilla Ultima. That's kind of crazy, but yeah, it was cool. It was the guy with the scythe, Gundam. I don't remember his name, but he's in it too.
I haven't seen Gundam in a long time, so.
Yeah, no, I get it.
All right, moving on to the Blood of Dawnwalker. We've talked about this game a lot, I think, at this point. They showed more CGI and stuff, but otherwise, it's the same game. I mean, it's what we've already seen. Like, we know what to expect from this game now. We've talked about it a lot, and we're both excited for it. And, yeah. All right, moving on to Tekken 8. Tekken 8, the main focus was just a new character. I think his name is... I don't know how to say his name. Fuckram? I don't know. Fuckram.
Let me.
I can't play the audio to see the pronunciation.
Wait. Let me see it. Fakurama.
Yeah, something like that.
Fakuram.
Yeah, they made a big focus about his like culture and like the tattoos on his back and stuff. But like, I can't imagine anyone be interested in that unless you're really into culture or something. And then they talk about kickboxing. So if you're into that, then there you go. All right, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot Daima. Any interest in that, Dory?
It upset me that the way they said Kakarot. I don't know if you remember the way he said it, but it upset my soul. He said like Kakarot or some shit like that. I hope Vegeta finds this man's address. That's all I'm gonna say. And Yeah, no, I don't care. I can't believe they're still making content for this game. Can we fucking move on and do a different goddamn Dragon Ball game? This came out in 2020. It's been 5 years, guys. Can we let this go? Like, I think it's impressive, and I think they're still making Xenoverse 2 content as well. But that's crazy. Just make a fucking new Dragon Ball game. Like, it's been 5 years. Just make a Daima game. I don't know. It just seems like a waste to me. I never got into Kakarot, and I don't think I'm gonna. This is not gonna move my needle. I do love Daima though. Thought it was a really great series. Just plug. Random, not random thing, but just wanted to make sure I got my little bit in there for Daima. Daima was great.
All right, and then the last thing they showed was the Digimon story, Time Stranger. Again, we've talked about this game a lot on this podcast. We're both excited for it. It's the first new Digimon story game in 10 years. It has over 450 Digimon in 3D environments, and it's a turn-based system, and has a branching story. I always said, like, the animation and the story reminds me of, like, a Persona. So I at first I thought it was like an Atlas thing, but no, it's a Digimon game. So I'm excited for it. And yeah. Last topic of the night is the Xbox news. So unfortunately, we have a lot of bad news to talk about when it comes to Microsoft and all of the layoffs. And 2 games got canceled, and many studios under Microsoft got hurt as well. Let's focus on one thing at a time. So let's start with the introduction of it. The Microsoft is cutting approximately 9,100 jobs, which is around 4% of its total workforce. This affected their...
Sorry, to be clear, that's 9,100.
Yes. And it's 4% of their workforce, and this affected their main studios, ZeniMax, Turn 10, and a lot more. So it happened across their every studio that they own.
It's important. Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to say it's super important to clarify. Xbox did not lose over 9,000 people, right? This is a Microsoft-wide thing.
Yeah.
And not that you're not saying it, I just want to emphasize it because it's an easy mistake to make because we're gamers and we're focusing on Xbox. But Microsoft is the one overall losing 9,000 people. A percentage of that, as Seb is about to say, is Xbox. But anyway, go ahead.
Right. And then they canceled 2 projects, unfortunately. Perfect Dark, which was from the Initiative, and Everwild, which was from Rare. And unfortunately, the Initiative has also been completely shut down. Turn 10 lost over 70 staff. ZeniMax's online MMO got canceled as well. And then there was several layoffs across different studios, including King, which is the people that made Candy Crush. And Dory noted that 10% of their staff got laid off as well. Raven, Blizzard, and others also lost people as well. And then Phil Spencer came out and he emphasized a stronger focus on core growth opportunities and stated affected employees will get their severance and internal rehire options. So it's good that they get their severance, but it was kind of... He shouldn't have said it. Like, I mean, it's his job to say something, so it's just corporate talk, but it definitely is like read the room, but it is what it is. I always said you can't treat these companies like they're your best friend because as much as people praise Phil Spencer, and I'm sure he's a nice guy, I'm not saying he's an asshole or anything, but it's his job but it's his job to be a corporate figurehead for the company, and he's gonna do bad things for the company. It's kind of out of his hands. Like, what would you do in his position? I suppose. Like, it doesn't excuse it, but I understand. Like, he like Nintendo doesn't try to hide. Like, that's the biggest difference between Microsoft and the other companies is like PlayStation and Nintendo are just like openly assholes. They don't even try to hide it. They're just like, screw you, we're gonna do what we want, and if you're gonna buy it anyway, who cares? Microsoft tries to be your best friend, and it always comes off as fake to me. And this is a perfect example of why it comes off as fake to me. Because,
yeah. I was reading an article about Spencer's message, and honestly would have just been better if he had said, and I totally agree with this article, it would have been better if he had just said, we're investing in AI and sucks to suck, bye. Like, right. Obviously not that exact language, but pretty much like Stop making excuses. This has nothing to do with wanting a more agile workforce or wanting the groups to be able to better focus on the current marketplace dynamics and forces or whatever corporate bullshit. This is all because Microsoft is heavily investing in AI and cloud sharing services. We'll get into it soon, but that's the bottom line. And they won't say it because, like Seb said, they want to pretend like they're your best friend. And Xbox is like the underdog. They always have been when it comes to the big three, right? So they have reason to want to pretend like, oh, well, everything is fine, and this definitely isn't just a big strategy change, and we're definitely not cutting all these people just because we're investing a bunch of bullshit money into bullshit AI, right? It's because we need our teams to be more dynamically attuned to the marketplace or what the fuck ever. Anyway, I'm gonna get real upset about this later, but yeah, you're completely right.
Yeah. I'd rather the company be honest with me and just say, like, we're going to do this because we want to, and too bad.
Right. Yeah.
I respect that more than fake
Absolutely.
kumbaya, let's all be gamers together. Like, I never fell for that. Like, it just doesn't, it comes off as fake corporate nonsense to me. Now,
I've always said I will respect somebody who stabs you in the front more than someone who stabs you in the back. So
exactly,
that's my same stance on it.
100%. Like I'm Italian, and one of the things we grew up with in our culture is like being upfront and like saying how it is. Like no one likes a person that talks behind your back. Just say it. If you have an issue, just say it. Because if you don't address an issue, like things get a lot worse, right? Like it's always better to tackle things head on. And now the big conversation this week turned into Game Pass as well. Now, we're not really going to talk about Game Pass as much because I don't think it's totally relevant to this, because I think the main reason they did this is because of AI, as Dory mentioned. But there have been people out speaking out against Game Pass all week. There's been this big anti-Game Pass rhetoric this week.
Yeah,
like the Larian studio head that used to be the head of Arcane spoke out against Game Pass today or this week. And that was a big conversation. So we're not going to get into all that because the thing with Game Pass is it's tricky because we don't have the numbers to say if it's profitable or not. People claim that it is, and I've seen people claim that it's not. It's been a big conversation. I still don't know how Game Pass is growing when Xbox has a limited amount of base, and most people on PC prefer Steam over Game Pass, so I don't know where they can grow if they don't put Game Pass on PlayStation or Nintendo. And I don't know how they make their money. But people say that if they have 30 million subscribers and they're selling it for $20 each, then they should make a profit. But then it's a matter of how much are they paying the indies and how much are they paying these third-party games, these AAA games to be on Game Pass day one. And it's just that it's a really hard conversation because we just don't have the numbers to argue it. So we're only going to talk about what we had that's concrete and factual. What we have in front of us. So Dory, you noted about Rare, so I'll let you talk about that.
So it's not just the games. It's not just the people in the groups who are like lower down. Some upper people are getting released as well. So Greg Mayles, Banjo and Kazooie and Sea of Thieves director, leaves Rare after 30 plus years. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine doing a job for 5 years, let alone 35 years. That's longer than I've been alive. That's 2 years longer than I've been alive. That's crazy to think about. And he just left because of Everwild, which we'll talk about soon. But yeah, it's absolutely insane. Matt Freor is leaving ZeniMax Online following the cancellation of Blackbird. And he was their president, I want to say. So that's crazy. Romero Games, made by John Romero, one of the founding members of the Doom team, who's now spun off and to do his own thing. Seems like a great guy, by the way, trans rights. He had his funding pulled by Microsoft, which ended development of an all-new shooter IP, which I would have been there day one for that. That would have been fucking cool. So I'm really bummed about this. Unconfirmed reports suggest the entire development team has been laid off, or at least most of it. Per Bloomberg, we already talked about that. And then employees in Xbox user research team have been laid off, including head of product for family and child safety, Mike Mongo has been laid off. So got that from Eurogamer. And then we've already talked about Candy Crush. It's just this is huge. I mean, I know it's not 9,000. I think it was like what 5% or some shit of 9,000.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, Seb.
Yeah.
And that's like 200 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just massive. It's I could be totally wrong about that number, by the way. I'm not good with percentages, but I think it's something like 200 people total laid off, or no, maybe not 200. Yeah, I messed up the numbers now, but yeah, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people, and some of those just individual numbers are from big names in the games industry who are either stepping down or having their team stripped. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, this article from Games Radar says less than half of the 9,000 workers were at Xbox. So
yeah,
so it could be in the thousands, but like in the low thousands. Yeah, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so probably like 4,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
not 200.
Maybe 3,000.
I was thinking about something else.
It says less than the half, so maybe like 3,000.
Yeah.
Anyway, point is, it's bad. Like that's the main thing we get out of that.
Yes.
So Phil Spencer, he's CEO of Microsoft Gaming. He said he addressed the layoffs in a memo to all the staff, and he said these decisions are necessary to ensure the enduring success of Xbox. He emphasized the need to end or decrease work in certain areas and to remove management layers to increase agility and effectiveness. Spencer acknowledged that these changes come at a time when Xbox is experiencing growth with more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. He attributed the success to tough decisions made in the past and reiterated the importance of prioritizing the strong opportunities for future success. I think what's going on as well, because layoffs keep happening a lot around the industry, but especially at Xbox. I think COVID just created a bubble, and they hired way too many people, and a lot of these companies have realized now that things are back to normal. Gaming's not booming like it was in 2020 when people were sitting home all day playing games, and we don't have them. We just don't want to spend the money on all these extra jobs and roles that we don't need, and they're cutting people for that reason, unfortunately. But I think the other problem as well, and this is one of the reasons why I was against the merger and the purchase of Activision, as Dory was as well, is that I think when you consolidate the industry, it leads to mergers, and then it leads to people getting fired because jobs get redundant and you don't need the same role twice, and you fire the people that had the job at the other studio. So there's no point of having the same job twice. So a lot of these mergers and purchases lead to people getting fired, unfortunately, and that's what happened. Because they've been, ever since they purchased ABK, they've fired many people. So it's like the third time of thousands, hundreds of thousands. So.
It's like clockwork at this point. When they do mergers like this, they eventually let people go, either because jobs get redundant, they don't like certain people, there's politics at play, or they decide to invest in a totally different thing like AI and think that's the ticket to their success, that and cloud gaming. Yeah. Instead of investing in the people. And what's crazy here is that Phil is saying he's saying what he shouldn't. He's saying Xbox is incredibly successful. We're recording our highest profits. All of our team members are amazing, and this is no reflection on their abilities. So then there's no reason to fucking fire them. Like, then there's no reason to let them go. Like, then it makes absolutely no sense. You guys aren't losing money, according to the president of your goddamn company, or basically the president. Your employees that are firing are doing really well, and the games that you have are doing really well. And Game Pass is great. Like, I know that there are criticisms of Game Pass, but I love the program personally. I think it's the best thing from Xbox. It's the only thing that I invest in. I would arguably spend $20 a month, theoretically spend $20 a month to keep my subscription for it. That's how good of a service it is. And I wouldn't pay that for almost any other service. That's how much money I feel like I'm getting worth. Now, I wouldn't go much higher than that.
Sure.
And we're not going to talk about Game Pass too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so infuriating. It's like he's saying the quiet part out loud and then refusing to acknowledge that, that makes the whole thing fucking stupid.
Yeah, what worries me too about Game Pass, and I won't go too far with it, but one of my concerns with it, this happens to all these streaming services, is like, how do we make our money back? They start doing ads in the middle of game. Are they gonna start adding ads like Netflix does? Are they gonna start? There's no way that Game Pass is gonna stay $20 a month. It's gonna be more money at some point. It's inevitable, especially with all these new games and IPs and Activision under their belt and ZeniMax under their belt. I just can't see Game Pass staying $20 a month, unfortunately. So that's a concern. That's gonna be a big controversy and a big discussion as well when it inevitably happens. All right,
Yeah.
so let's get into the studios and the games that got canceled. So, and this story is gonna make Phil look even worse regarding Blackbird. But let's start with let's see. Actually, no. Let's start with the introduction. So Perfect Dark, the reboot that we saw last year at the Xbox show during Summer Game Fest, got canceled. And Everwild, which is a game from Rare we've been sitting on waiting for years now, got canceled. And it was well, I'll say that Everwild being canceled was not a surprise to me. This game has been MIA for years now. The news like years ago that we talked about on another podcast, like an eternity ago, was about like the gameplay was a mess. They weren't happy with it. They had to restart the whole game from scratch. It was a big issue. It's been a mess. When it comes to Rare, that's like the number one studio they've fumbled in their since they purchased Rare. I mean, if you grew up in the '90s and early 2000s, like Dory and I grew up with, like we had Banjo and Conquer and Donkey Kong Country, and even the early Xbox days, we had the Viva the Pinata game and stuff like that. Like Rare was one of the best developers for platformers. They created Perfect Dark and GoldenEye. I mean, all these games are classics. And ever since then, the last single player game that we've gotten from Rare under Microsoft is Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, which people really hate. Or I think people might like it a little more nowadays, but it's still not Banjo-Kazooie 3 that the people wanted. And then after that, they became a Kinect studio for years, and then they finally released Sea of Thieves. Now, to their credit, they've really fixed Sea of Thieves, and they turned it around, and it's been a big success on PlayStation. It found new life. They've done a great job supporting it. But other than that, they have not made a single player game in practically 2 decades, and they're gonna stay a support studio because this could be a big slap in the face. Imagine like this is your marquee big new single player game, and now it's canceled. Where does Rare go from here, Dory? What do you think? Like, where does Rare go from here?
I honestly don't know. I'm a little worried about like where they could go, right? I mean, apart from remakes, I mean, make another new IP. I mean, that didn't work out very well. I mean, I guess they could do a smaller IP, but I don't know. I really don't know what they do. Rare hasn't done anything interesting to me since Banjo-Tooie. I don't know if that's right. Like, I played Sea of Thieves and I liked it okay. I played it with somebody I was friends with at the time. We enjoyed it, but like wasn't amazing. It's just it was a fun time. But like I haven't seen anything from them that's really I don't know.
Banjo-Tooie.
I haven't seen anything from them that has really moved me since Banjo-Tooie.
Well, Tooie came out what?
In the late 90s, early 2000s?
Came out 2000. Conqueror came out in 2001. Do you remember Star Fox Adventures? I remember that.
No.
Yeah, it's an underrated game.
Is that the one with the girl, the Crystal?
Maybe it's the one with the dinosaur land. Like you're in like it's a 3D game. It's not a game where you're flying in the ship. But yeah, you're right. They haven't like they did Cameo. Have you played Cameo on 2005?
No.
Like it was a launch 360 game. I really like that. And then Viva Pinata, which I mentioned. And I know they helped on
I never played Viva Pinata.
And I know they helped on the Killer Instinct fighting game, but that wasn't their game. They just helped on it. And then they helped with that Battletoads game, which was not good. in 2020. But yeah, they've largely been a Sea of Thieves studio for like years now. So anyway, my question is like, how big was this Everwild game, and like, was it a AAA game? Because it didn't look like it was gonna be like, it didn't look like, some monster like $700 million budget game. It's not Concord. You know what I mean? It looked really nice and pretty, but I don't see what the hell was going on. It just, this one I can understand canceling though. You know what I mean? Because it's been like years, and if there was no development with and no progress with the game, I can understand canceling that. Like, it makes sense to me. But Phil Spencer was on a podcast this year, and they asked him, "What game are you excited about that's still being worked on?" And he said Everwild. He's like, he was like, "We're giving them their time, we're giving them their space, and we're letting them do their, we're letting them be, and we're excited to see it come out." And then like the same year they canceled the game. So very shady by Phil with that as well. And then another shady thing was actually, well, I don't want to say shady, but another issue. I was going to transition to Blackbird, but I want to talk about Perfect Dark first. Perfect Dark. Apparently, Perfect Dark was a vertical slice. The gameplay that we saw at Summer Game Fest last year was not real. It was just a vertical slice to make it look like it was gameplay. And that's what Shinobi said on Twitter, and I saw that on Reset Era as well. And I can believe that. I'm looking at it, and when I look at the gameplay of Perfect Dark, it does look like fake gameplay now. Like, I can see why people would say that. But I was really excited for this. Perfect Dark is a classic game from Rare, and it's a good IP of, I think Microsoft owns it. And the remake we got in like 2005 was trash, and I was kind of curious if it still holds up, in the sense that like the IP, because unless you're a 90s gamer, I don't think you really have a love for Perfect Dark. It's stuck in the 90s. It's a classic IP back then, but doesn't have an audience today. But it's very disappointing that it got canceled. I was actually really looking forward to this. I thought the gameplay looked cool, even if it was fake. If it played even remotely like it, I would have been into it. Dory, how do you feel about that?
I remember watching that trailer with you, or at least talking about it with you, and we were both pretty impressed. I don't remember if we talked about whether we thought it was real or fake or what.
No, we thought it was real.
We thought it was real, yeah. I don't remember thinking it was fake either.
Yeah.
But either way, it was impressive. It looked good, and I didn't grow up with Perfect Dark either. I didn't really play it, but I liked what I saw, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I was hoping that it would pan out. I love me a good FPS, especially like a throwback FPS that's like with newer graphics. So I was pretty hyped about it. I mean, it wasn't like over the moon. Yeah. I'm not like crestfallen that it's not here anymore, but I wanted it to happen for sure. And it's a big bummer.
Yeah, and the Initiative was a studio that Microsoft started in 2018, and they never made anything.
Yeah.
And 7 years of nothing. So I can see why they canceled that.
Yeah. I understand why, but I think it's a big bummer. I think they could have given it to a different studio, or they could have had another studio help coordinate with them or something, but I get it. I understand why. I'm not saying it's okay or cool or whatever, but I get it.
Yeah, I think the layoffs and the AI part irritated me more than the games getting canceled, because like it made sense to me logically that Everwild, nothing's been done for 5 years. Like, let's just move on. I think what made it look bad was just the fact that Phil was praising both these games, and then you cancel them. Like, huh? And as Dory said, I agree that you couldn't get Perfect Dark to someone else. Like, you're a huge publisher. You're you're Microsoft. Like, you can't give that game to someone else. Was it that much of a mess? Maybe they saw something where like the game was like 5 years away and there was just nothing to it. Like that gameplay must have been really vertical slice of nothingness. Like they must have had nothing like ready to go to cancel the game like this. You know what I mean? It felt like it was ready. It felt like this game was coming out like next year. Like it looked clean. The gameplay that we saw looked clean and polished. Like I was like, oh okay, is this game right on the corner or something? But no, like apparently this game was like in pre-production. Like this game was like not even close to being done. So I understand the canceling of it. It's just they feel like it's a better move than that. And I feel bad for the people that worked at the initiative. They didn't get to make a game, and then they get fired. So it's a shame. It really is. They lost all their elite talent. And another problem, and another thing that got canceled was Project Blackbird, which is an MMO from ZeniMax, which is very ambitious. That's what people said. All right, so the notes say that despite early enthusiasm from the Xbox executives who were reportedly blown away by the game's early presentations, Microsoft chose to discontinue the project. The cancellation reflects a shift in priorities, focusing on high-impact games and new IPs. Phil Spencer, the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, expressed strong enthusiasm for ZeniMax Online Studios' unannounced MMO, codenamed Blackbird, during a March 2025 demonstration. So this is like a few months ago. According to sources present at the meeting, Spencer was so engaged that Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, had to physically remove the controller from his hands to continue the presentation. The Project Blackbird was envisioned to be a third-person action RPG set on a tidally locked planet named Soteria, featuring a sci-fi noir aesthetic reminiscent of Blade Runner. That sounds cool. Players would have taken on the role of revenants, augmented humans working for alien syndicates within a hovering megacity called Exodus. The game has been in development since 2018 with a team of approximately 200 people and was aiming for a release in 2028. Well, the first thing that stands out to me is that an MMO in today's climate has to be so fantastic to come out. The MMO genre is just not what it was back in like the early 2000s. Like the everything about what I'm hearing sounds amazing except for the MMO part. Like I'm turned off by that. Like if this was a single player game like Cyberpunk, like a big RPG kind of game in a Blade Runner kind of setting, that sounds amazing. But an MMO, But I think what makes it look bad though is Phil being obsessed with this game and then they cancel it. Now, did he cancel it or was it Microsoft that canceled? That's what I'm saying. Like, is this the executives over him that did this? That's what I would think, right? I don't think he would cancel this.
No, I mean, if he's so locked in that you literally have to pull the man away,
yeah,
which is a wild story, by the way. I mean, it is. If this game had gone ahead, I think this story, if it ever got out, would have been remembered as highly endearing and made Spencer come off super well. But because it got canceled, it comes off incredibly badly. Yeah. How do you cancel a game that the president of your company loves to death so much that he's being semi-unprofessional and won't stop playing a game, right? I mean, literally for the love of the game, right? It's wild. Now, it's fucking corporate greed is crazy.
Now I'm imagining him like having a controller in his hand. And he's like, like imagine Phil Spencer like fighting with like Matt Booty, like they're wrestling in the chair,
just like shoving security, like just fighting security guards off. Get off me! I'm playing this MMO in 2025.
Do you know who I am?
Dude, that's right. You know who you can't. I'm imagining the fucking Spider-Man reference when Osborn is like, "You can't do this. You can't do this to me."
Phil Spencer probably has like a trap door in his office. He hits the button.
That's right. He's like, "All right, guys, I'll go over, but I need you to walk in this very specific spot."
Yeah, he has a Rancor under his office. All right.
That's right. Wouldn't surprise me.
But in terms of the game itself, when a game takes like 11 years, let's say 2028. So if this game 10 years to make, like that's too ambitious. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's too much. Like, I can understand this being canceled, but
yes,
like, that's the main thing, right? These are the 3 games that are canceled. It sounds cool, but I really wasn't pissed off about any of these cancellations in terms of like shadiness or crappy. Like, it made sense to me why you would cut these projects. I think the bigger conversation is more so Microsoft needs to do a better job handling their studios and their games. These giant booming like the money they're putting into these games, like the budgets are ridiculous, right? These games are taking way too long to make, and the budgets are too big. You agree with that, Dory? I think that's the bigger
Yeah,
issue.
no, I completely agree. The budgets have gone out of control.
Yeah, you're making a game for 10 years and it gets canceled is a bad look. I think that's the bigger problem. The mismanaging of the studios is horrible. And I think that's the big problem I have with Phil Spencer is I don't think he's done an amazing job handling the studios. I think they've had a lot of issues historically in the last like 2 generations of games being canceled or games just not coming out the best version of it, or the studios have been poorly managed. Them owning Activision and ZeniMax doesn't fix that problem. Because if you look, because since like what 2013, they've always been like the third wheel of the industry. Like
Right.
Their 2013 E3 was so bad that like I went from being like potentially a mainly Xbox player to like straight back to PlayStation. I mean, I was already transitioning back to PlayStation because PlayStation 3 got like a lot of momentum at the end of the generation. You had like Last of Us just came out and it was everything about it was just games coming out. And it was just consistent. And I was getting into the trophies. And then the PS4 generation just kicked off with such a bang with the E3 presentation and the sharing the game video was classic. And Xbox has always been just fighting in third place since then. And
I mean, it's really been since their Xbox One announcement, right?
Yeah.
Not really announcing what the Xbox even was. The Kinect fiasco, just trying to load it up with social media and DVDs
Focus
and like
on
all
TV.
that other stuff.
They advertise more TVs and watching shows and stuff on it than actually playing games.
I mean, they're kind of trying to do that now with the Xbox Anywhere kind of initiative. They're trying to make the Xbox more than just a gaming platform, but the people just want games. They just want games. We have your laptops, bro. We don't need that.
I do think they focus more on games nowadays in comparison to back then. I think they've learned their lesson in that regard because we are getting games. Like we talked about it when we did the report card. We praised Xbox. They said we got Doom and South of Midnight. We got Avowed, and we got the Oblivion remake and stuff like that. So they had a great year in terms of games. But we've talked about this in the podcast as well. Every time Microsoft has good news, they always trip on their feet with.
Literally a week ago, we were talking about how good that showcase was, and then also like how they immediately just shot themselves in the foot by doing something. I don't even remember what.
Yeah. Well, we talked about like how they're putting their games on other consoles. Like they've moved on from the console industry. I think like they're gonna do a console, and it might be and it sounds like it's gonna be more of a PC than a console. I don't think they're gonna just get rid of consoles, and they already confirmed that they're gonna do one in 2027. But there's no reason to own a console, Xbox console anymore, unless like it has Steam on it or something, or unless you're like really that hardcore of an Xbox person and you have all your games or something on there. But otherwise, if you're not outside that audience, I don't see why you would be on Xbox anymore. Every game is on Steam or PC Game Pass. I just don't see the point of owning an Xbox anymore. So they've killed the hardware. I'm not against the Xbox Anywhere idea. Makes sense to me. If you're in third place and you just can't win, then put your games on everything and make as much money as you can. It makes sense to me. I'm not against that, as other people are. But like I said, I can say that because I'm not in the Xbox ecosystem. I'm like, I buy their games on Steam. So, and then finally they laid off a lot of people at Turn 10 Studios. Now they're gonna keep working on Forza Motorsport, but they're gonna have a much smaller team, unfortunately. All right, now let's get into the worst part of this, besides the layoffs, the AI, the use of AI. So an Xbox game studio executive suggested using AI chatbots like Copilot and ChatGPT to help laid-off employees manage stress and plan careers and craft resumes through the suggestion. And then the suggestion received very mixed reactions, of course. And then, Dory, you mentioned about a tone-deaf response. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason that a lot of these people are getting fired or replaced or whatever is because of AI. And so basically what they're saying is they're setting your house on fire, and then they're saying, you know what a great way to spend your time is? Arson. Everyone loves arson. Who doesn't love arson? It's like telling a fucking fire survivor that's like, I love fire. Fire is great. Don't you love fire? How come you don't love fire? Why are you crying about fire? I don't understand. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, this is so absolutely tone deaf. Incredibly bad. I mean, it's so bad he even deleted the post. You can find it on Blue Sky. You can find it on The Verge. People have screenshotted it. Just incredibly tone deaf to the highest level. This is a rocket launcher to the foot, kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, 100%. Now AI is not going anywhere, and it is going to be used by everybody in every industry. It's just even as a teacher, I have to use AI. Like the district wants me to use AI. AI is not going anywhere. I find AI useful in a lot of things. I just don't like AI in art. Do you agree with that, Dory? Do you use AI anywhere besides, like, I don't use it for art. I don't make videos.
I use it when Google has it come up as a summary that has sources and links, so that I'm not just like using it blindly. But I personally, I don't like ChatGPT, and I don't like the AI image stuff, like you said, art. Yeah. I don't like when it takes people's jobs, which is what's happening here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think AI is an inherent bad, but in certain contexts, it's an inherent bad, right? Like there are some life-saving surgeries and medical procedures that are AI done that are much better, much safer, much more effective than people. That's obviously a net positive. I am in no way against stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when you're just stealing people's artwork or firing people because you're investing billions of dollars in something that's probably just going to be another scam or another like crypto thing, that's where I draw lines, where I'm like, this is ridiculous, right? AI has its place. It's always had its place. AI has been around for years and years and years. The only reason it's blowing up so much is because artists are having their work stolen. People are getting upset about the way AI is being used to lay off people and to, like like for example, I live in a city. I go to, a store like Family Dollar. It is almost empty except for like maybe one or two people. And this is like a medium-sized store, right? So how the heck do you only have one or two workers? And like, who's manning the cashiers? Well, nobody is, right? Because a lot of the things are just automated now, which isn't inherently bad, but you're just using it as an excuse to lay off people who need that job to feed their families, right? So what I'm trying to get at is AI is a tool, right? And tools are not inherently good or inherently bad. It's all about how you use them and how they're regulated and everything else. So yeah, I'm mostly with you. I think I'm a little harsher on AI than you are, but yeah, maybe we completely agree. I don't know, but that's where I'm at.
I'm only against AI when it's affecting people's art and jobs. Like if a game developer can use AI to like create a barrel or create an environment or something, I mean, like that kind of thing, like it assists them as just another tool that helps them in their art, then I'm cool with that. But if it cuts costs down for like companies and people are keeping their jobs, I'm not against it. It's just I don't like the concept of people being able to make like their own movies using AI and artists losing their livelihoods or like stealing people's art, like drawings and stuff like that. But like AI is like ChatGPT is great for me. Like if I want like something, I find it more useful than Google now. Like I just type in whatever and it searches things up for me. It's really good for I look up something medically or something with my dentist or something. It really comes in handy for me. It's really great for school. I can I can tell AI to translate it to like Spanish for me like that. But I don't have to go through Google Translate and all that crap all in one place. It's just really helpful. But that doesn't like take away from my job. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Right. As long as it's not taking people's jobs, it's the future and it's not going anywhere.
Right. And I don't think it's smart to fight against the future. I think it's fine if AI has its place in the gaming industry. There are some parts of being a game developer that are fucking tedious as hell, and I'm glad people don't have to do that anymore. But you can just have AI supplant people's job, and that's often what technology does. People always have these conversations. People are always worried about technology causing people their jobs. More often than not, technology just supplants people's jobs and makes new ones happen. But the way that corporations are implementing AI makes that really hard because they're like, oh, once we do this, we won't need to hire half as many people as we have right now, which is just not true.
Yeah.
They're just completely overestimating it, and this is going to very much backfire in the hands of Microsoft in a few years, I bet, maybe sooner.
Let's hope. All right, it's a bad precedent because if nothing happens and they turned out that they were right, and then it's going to set a bad precedent for everybody else.
Yes, for sure.
So let's see how it plays out. But if we know how the world works, they'll probably not face any consequences at all, and that's just how the world works, unfortunately. Yeah. All right, you had another take from another link, or did you?
Oh, this was the honesty thing. We've already talked about it, okay. But yeah, it's just related to the AI. Just having Phil Spencer and everyone else be more honest, I would have respected more. But yeah, go ahead. That we've already talked about that.
Okay, so at the end of the day, this is their 4th major round of cuts since 2023, and this aligns with their long-term focus on AI investment and their more streamlined studio model. It feels like they're going to be focusing more on Call of Duty kind of level games. I would guess. It worries me. Are they going to give more time to like these smaller indie AA kind of games? That like would a Pentiment exist now, or are they going to push Outer Worlds 2 or Clock? It's got to be on the level of Clockwork Revolution or Outer Worlds 2, or we're not making it. I think Obsidian can get away with like Grounded too, because Obsidian is like a household name, and the controversy of shutting them down would be nightmarish. But if you're like a smaller studio, it's concerning, right? Because I'm not against the whole Xbox Anywhere idea. I don't have a problem per se of being able to play games anywhere. Like I'm not in the ecosystem. It's fine with me. Put all your games on Steam. I'll buy all your games. I'm cool with it. Anyway, to wrap it all up, Dory and I are both very sad for people, and we hope you guys land on your feet as soon as possible. And it's a really shame, and I'm not totally against AI, but like when it's come to taking people's jobs, then yeah, I don't want to see that. I'd rather you keep the people's jobs, even if you have to like lose some money on it. Just for the sake of humanity and the sake of people's livelihoods, keep them around. Stop treating people like numbers. But that's the thing, right? You can't be a billionaire in this world without being a cutthroat person. And I could never be a billionaire because I care too much for other people, fortunately. So I'll never be rich with the mindset, but I care about people, and it's a shame. So any closing thoughts, Dory?
Yeah, I want to say that for anybody who has been laid off and is listening to this, I don't want to just say, "Oh, this sucks," and that's it at the end.
Yeah.
There are support groups. There are, people to talk to. There are alumni groups, Discords. There's Slacks. There is a couple of Discords all about specifically like being laid off from the games industry. There is Amir Sadfat, who I believe he was on the Goaty thing that Jeff had last year.
Yeah.
He has a whole website for community resources. So if you have been laid off, it's not something you have to go through by yourself. It's something that you can go through with other people who have also unfortunately been through it, but you can build a community based around that. So I just think that's something worth considering as well.
100%. All right. Well, that fortunately we had to end on bad news, but that concludes our show. Next week, Tony Hawk Pro Skater comes out, so I'd imagine that's the game we're going to be talking about. That's going to be our main spotlight, and then whatever news comes out as well. And that's it. Thanks for joining me, Dory. You have a good night, and take care, everybody. Peace. Happy summer.
Bye, everybody.